Hey, hi. My name is Purnima and welcome to my lecture series. I'm so glad these series interested you. So before you start listening to my lectures, I will just like to give you or tell you what my motivation was behind shooting or conducting these lecture series. So I was approached by this NGO called the Udayan Shalini Foundation, where I was asked to teach English to little girls who were just going to go to their colleges. So, especially from the place that I come from, that is India, English is being used vastly. So, I have seen a lot of people struggling in communicating in English. It's not just, so I feel whenever you have to express your thoughts and emotions, it is not just enough to know the technicalities or just to know the grammar. It is also equally important to know how to use your voice, how to pronounce certain words, how to have a certain body language if you want the other person to listen to you. So that is what I have in these lecture series. I have not only covered some basic grammar topics, but I have also covered topics such as intonations or pronunciations or body language. So I really hope by the end of these lecture series, you are able to gain some more confidence in expressing your thoughts and emotions in English. And I have a little secret for you that I will be introducing a surprise member towards the end of these series. And so this surprise member is really, really close to my heart. And by listening about this surprise member, I am sure you're going to feel so motivated, so encouraged that it does not matter what your caste is, your age is, your sex is, your background is, you are equally you have the equal potential as anybody else has to pursue whatever you feel like, whatever you are scared of, just because of coming from a certain background, or what will people, or thinking about what will people say. So yeah, with these series, I just want to help those people who are hesitant to communicate in English, and I hope I'm able to do that. So I hope you enjoy the series. Thank you. So I think it's time to introduce this special member that I have been talking about in the introduction. And even if you're a little bit curious to know about who he or she is, I think my purpose is solved. So yeah, this person is my grandmother, and she has been a student in these lecture series of mine. So I conducted these lecture series when we were all locked in our houses during when the corona situation was really at its peak. And I was conducting these online lectures to these little girls, and I told this to my grandmother because she has been so enthusiastic in her life. Oh, she's 73, only 73 by the way. So she has been so enthusiastic in the recent past because she has been a housewife all her life, and now is the time where she feels that she can just let go of her responsibilities and do something for herself. So she's joining yoga classes, some stretching classes, some languages, and so some of her grandchildren are settled in the US, so she also struggles in communicating with them. So I thought it would make her really happy to learn some basic or learn how to communicate in English and how to increase her confidence in communicating or expressing. And when I told her about this idea, she was absolutely thrilled. So she was so happy, and she just immediately joined my classes. She did her homework. She used to come on time, leaving all her work aside, and she was as enthusiastic as a little kid. So this just makes me so happy and makes my heart so warm, because she, being so old, could have given up easily. saying that, oh, I'm embarrassed, what would the girls think, what would my family think, or whatever. But she did not. So yeah, I just want to convey this message to you all, that if you are thinking that if it's a right time for you to do something that you really always wanted to, or try something new, please do it. No age or no sex or no background is should stop you. So yeah, I hope you were motivated as I was, and I hope you enjoy remaining of my lecture series. Thank you. So today it's the second last of the lectures, and I'll be teaching you something that even I learned quite recently, which is the art of having a conversation. But before that, I have like a quick grammar topic, because as I'm also like listening to people and listening, like going through their homework and stuff, I felt that this is something that you guys needed help with, and which was not taught formally. So it's like a quick grammar topic, and then we'll move on to the next interesting topic. Okay, great. So the difference between which, that, and who. So whenever you talk about things, whenever you talk about people, which of these pronouns do you use? Who is a pronoun that you always use with people? I talk to my teacher who calls me every day. Or did I tell you about this friend who came to my house yesterday? Or did I tell you about the actor who got an award? So who is always for people. Do not say which, or do not say which. Which is mostly for always for things. Okay. Now you can also use, sometimes usage of which and that becomes a little confusing. Okay. So that is what I want to clear today. My cycle, which had a flat tire, blah blah blah. So here what you're doing is you're talking about my cycle, or I am talking about my cycle. So since I have like a specific object that I'm talking about, and I am stressing on that object, I am using the word which. My cycle which had a flat tire. My plants which had a brown pot, which was planted in a brown pot. Or the marker which I have in my hand. So if I want to specify on these objects and then give additional information on that object, then I use the word which. Okay? But when do I use the word that? I use the word that if I want to say something in generic, like, do you remember my cycle that had a flat tire? Okay, so here I could have had like a million of cycles, or like, okay, let's be realistic, I would have had like multiple cycles, and I want you to remember my cycle that had a flat tire. So it's not like I'm stressing on the cycle, it's like, do you remember my cycle that had a flat tire? You see the difference? My cycle which had a flat tire. Okay, you can see the same thing. My cycle that had a flat tire got lost. My cycle which had a flat tire got lost. So if you want to stress, I mean, if you want to stress on the subject, then you use the word which. If you do not have to stress, you use the word that. And you can also use the word that for people, or you remember that friend that had come to my house yesterday? So that can also be used for things and for people. Which is strictly for things, who is strictly for people. But when you use which and that, you have to ask yourself if you want to stress on the subject. If the answer is yes, use the word which. If the answer is no, use the word that. Great, now we can move forward with the next topic. So this is the topic I was talking about, which I said even I have learned recently. By recently, I mean like a year or two ago. So I also did not know how to keep the opposite person engaged in a conversation. So it is, when you speak in English or speak in any language, it's not just about one way. It's not a monologue. It's not always going to be you talking. It's a lot of times going to be a two-way conversation, and a lot of people do not have the confidence to participate in a conversation because they do not know how to conduct a conversation, how to move forward, how to take it ahead, how to behave in a conversation, what to say, what not to say. Right? When it's a speech, you can just write down a speech, you can practice it a few times, and you can go and have a speech. But when it's a conversation between, or if it's a group discussion, it's things can be very uncertain. You would not know what the opposite person is going to say, right? So at that times, it kind of becomes confusing what to say, or like what is the right thing to say, what should I not say. And that is why I felt this is something that is important. So what I have done today is I have a list of situations that I feel almost everybody like comes across in their day-to-day lives, and I'm just going to give you a few hints and a few examples on how to start a conversation, or how to if this is a situation, how do you go about it, and so. Okay, great. So a conversation, according to me, or like what I've researched on, has three aspects. One is initiating a conversation. Next is joining a conversation. And next, third is ending a conversation. Okay? So initiating a conversation means you meet someone new, or you meet some of your friends, or you have just gone to a new college or a new workplace or a new residence, and you don't know anyone. So there can be so many situations where you want to take the initiative for a conversation and ask certain things or say certain things, right? That is why initiating a conversation is very important. Next is joining a conversation. Suppose you see two people already talking there and you want to join into their conversation. That is one example. Or you see a group of friends talking and you want to join in their conversation. That is one. Or you want to go you want to go and ask a doubt to your teacher or your professor or whoever, and he is in the middle of a conversation, so you want to like go in and like talk. So that is when you're joining a conversation. Next is ending a conversation. So you are with your friends or you're on a date and you want to like, it's getting late, or you have some other work coming up and you want to like go ahead with that and say goodbye. So how do you end a conversation politely? So these are the three aspects, and these not necessarily, like, they don't necessarily have to be positive. They don't necessarily have to be something happy or something jolly or something constructive. It can also be arguments, it can be conflicts, it can be debates. Even in these situations, you need initiating, joining and ending a conversation, and that is what the rest of the session is going to be on. Okay, so I have the first scenario that I have is new college or school and you want to make new friends. And how do you initiate a conversation? So you go to a place and then you always start by a smile and by introducing yourself. Like, hi, I'm this person and I'm coming from this place and I'm new here. And the important thing in a conversation is always to make the opposite person comfortable. Because if they are not comfortable, they are not going to respond you in a way that you expect them to, right? If they are not very comfortable with the way you spoke or with the way you expressed, like you were very grumpy or angry, obviously the opposite person is not going to respond politely. So you have to be like polite and nice, and then you go ahead to that person and then you start like, hey, I'm new to this place and I come from here and this. Could I talk to you for a few minutes? Can you please? So these are some line openers. Could I talk to you for a few minutes? Can I, do you have a few minutes right now? I have a few questions to ask. Can you help me with it? And or you could just be like, I'm actually new here and I'm looking around to make some friends. So I just wanted to like ask you if you can show me around. If you're in a college, you can show me around, or if you're in a new residence, and you do not know anyone, you can just ask some people, or you can make new friends by initiating a conversation, right? So in this situation, that is how you initiate a conversation, always very politely, very nicely, and with a smile. Great. Next, how do you join a conversation? When you go to a new place and you see like there are people already formed groups and they're standing there, so you can just say, it's like, hey, I saw you, first acknowledge, I saw you guys are already discussing something, may I join you guys? So you acknowledge that, hey, I saw you guys were talking about this topic, hey, I slightly heard that you guys are talking about this, can I join you, may I join you guys, I have something to add, can I join you guys? So this is how you ask to join them, and this is how you also seem polite, but you also seem friendly and you want to like go in and so. Next is ending a conversation. So you are with this group or with a new friend that you've made in the school or college or office or in a new residence, and then you want to end the conversation. So you always end by saying thank you for this. Or if it's an informal friends, you can just be like, it was nice talking to you. It was, I really thank you for all the help that you did to me. I really have got to go, right? You can just, I really have got to go. I have other things that I have to do, or I have to be somewhere else, or I have to rush home, right? So these are some things that you can use to end the conversation. And you can be like, it was nice meeting you, I would like to meet you some other time. If you're on a date and you want to end and you think that the date was good and you want to take it ahead, so do you think we can take this further and meet again? So things like this, it always ends, but with ending in such a way that you would want to meet them again, or ending in such a way that you would want their help more. Hey, thank you for all your help, but I think I would actually need your help more in these coming days. Do you think I can come back to you whenever I need you? So these are simple sentences that you can end the conversation, right? Okay. Next is approaching a teacher for an advice or a doubts. So this is a more formal setting. The first one was very informal. It's like, hey, how are you doing, and things like that. But in a more formal setting, you have to be more polite. And the key word is always sorry and thank you and please and excuse me. These are always the keywords. So whenever you have teachers, you can be like, excuse me sir, excuse me ma'am, can I interrupt you? Do you have a few minutes? I had a few doubts. And that is how you initiate the conversation. Or you can say, or if that person says, no, I don't think I have time now. So you can ask them, okay, so when can I come back? Because you want to get your work done. So you can ask, when can I come back? Or when will you be free again so that I can come back? So you always want to assure that you would want to come back. And that is how you initiate conversations. And how do you end the conversation? It's the same way. Like you're with your teacher, you're asking doubts, you say thank you so much for all the help, and I think this was of great help, and you've solved all my doubts. Or if you're going to the teacher with a complaint, so then you can say thank you for your attention, thank you for hearing me out, I hope you do something about it and let me know. When you say let me know, you put the responsibility on the opposite person, right? So that person can let you know whenever the work is done. Or you can say, when should I follow you up, or when should I come to you for an update? If you have a complaint, or if you have asked something that that person has said, okay, you know what, I'll look into it and I'll let you know. So it means it's hanging, right? Let me know when. And you can't just ask like, oh, when? I mean, that kind of becomes a little rude. So you can like, okay, so do you want me to come back some other time so that you can update me? That is how you ask, right? In a polite manner, but saying that this is urgent and you want to get that done. Great. Next is, you're late for a class. So the class is going on and you're entering the class. And then you could be like, oh, I'm so sorry for, so, and the whole class just looked at you. So it kind of becomes scary because everybody's eyes are on you, but then you have to hold your calm. You know you've done a mistake, you're late, It's okay, you have to hold your calm and then explain. Do not lose your confidence then. Explain why you are late in a very polite and a calm way. I'm sorry that I am late. This is what happened. This will not be done again, or I will not be doing this again, or this will not happen again. Right? Simple, easy. Do not lose your confidence. It's very easy. Right. Okay. Next is when asked a question you didn't understand, know or listen to properly. So you're in a class and you did not understand what was going on, you had a doubt. So you can just be like, excuse me, I have a doubt, or sorry, I have a doubt, right? And then you, if at that point of time you could say that you do not have, if you feel like you do not have the confidence because it's everybody in there and the teacher is also looking at you, so what you can do is, or the trick that I used for myself is to frame the question in your head first, or frame the sentence in your head first. It's like, okay, okay, I have this question, and this is what I not understood. So can you please explain that again? So right, you talk about it to yourself, you frame that question, and then when you're confident, you can just raise up and ask it to the class. Right? In that way, you are also confident and you can also put forth. You should not be scared of doing that. Right. Next is talking on a call with a customer service or a service provider. So this is something that all like we have to go, like there's no running away from this, right? Okay. So again, sometimes what happens, we're in the middle of something and people keep calling again and again. So you do not have to be rude or impolite to them saying that, oh, just cut the phone and just get lost or something. You can just be like, hey, I cannot talk right now, I'm in the middle of something. I cannot talk right now, I'm in the middle of something. Please call me later. Or I am not interested in whatever you're doing. Thank you for your call. See, I feel you always have to be very appreciative of what others are doing. You cannot take people for granted because it is their job, right? So you can thank them. Thank you for calling me, but I am not interested. Thank you for coming, but I am not interested. So you first say thank you and then you can say I am not interested. Please don't call me again. In this way, you're putting forth your point. You're putting forth a negative statement. You're saying no, but in a polite manner, right? So that is also very important. And now you are on a call and you have to, they keep asking you questions. But since you're new to the English language, it takes some time for you to, um, understand what they are saying or to reply in the same language. So at that point of time, what you can say is, can I have a moment please, or can you give me a second, or can you please give me a minute, I'll come back to you. So you can mute the call, recap of what you want to say, or just try what you want to say in your head, and then go back on the call. It's always okay to take a pause. Hey, just give me a minute. Hey, I'll come back to you. Just give me a moment to think. Even if you're in an interview, you can be like, give me a moment to think. Or even if you're in a call, I can also say, I'm sorry, I did not understand the word. Can you please repeat it again? Right? You do not have to lose your confidence. You can still try and talk in English or any other language, but you can also take a moment for yourself. Okay? Okay, so all these questions or all these situations were something that was very cordial or very easy comparatively, but sometimes what happens, you do not agree with someone, or you want to say some points that the opposite person might disagree with, or it might be opposite to what they are saying. And in such cases, when you're new to a language, your confidence just drops. So how do you carry a conversation in such situations? So for example, you are having a group discussion. So if you're having a group discussion about religion, example, or vegetarian, non-vegetarian, or debate, and the opposite person is saying, and they're so confident, and then you are, then how do you put forth your points? You could be like, hey, now you have had a lot to say, please let me put my points forward. Okay, so you have shown that you have heard that person. Hey, you have had a lot to say, I listened to you, now I have a few points to put forward, so please hear me out. Okay, so please hear me out. and then you can go on with your points. So it's not necessary that you have to be impolite or you have to be aggressive in an argument or a debate. You can still hold your calm, you can still be confident and still put your point, right? The only thing is, even if you're making a mistake, it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. Do not let anyone tell you that if you make a mistake, you're not good enough. Okay? If and in an argument or in a disagreement, it is not okay to put the other person down. Just to win an argument, what a lot of people do is just say bad things about the opposite person, or just pinpoint some things about the opposite person, just to make them feel low and to make them feel discouraged, right? So that is not necessary. The opposite person has said their points. You can say what you feel without hurting the opposite person's feelings, right? So in that way, you can say that, so I am sorry, I disagree with you. I'm sorry, I disagree with you, and these are the things that I feel, and please let me talk. So you can still put forth your points confidently. So what rule that I normally apply is listen, pause, and reply. So a lot of times what happens is we are so excited, or we are so in the moment, the heat of the moment, that we want to keep talking and putting our points forward, that we fail to listen to the opposite person. See, why do we have a conversation? To engage one another. And how do we have a conversation? You listen to what the opposite person has to say. You take some points from what they said, and then you think about it and then speak of what you have in reply to them, right? So be it in any kind of situation, be it in your college or school, with your teachers, with your friends, or in an interview, or in an argument, or in a conflict or a debate, I mean, this rule has personally worked for me a lot, and I think it's a very nice way to communicate with each other by using this rule. So you first listen to the opposite person, then you pause and think what you actually want to say, and then you say, you know what, let me talk now, and then you start saying. I think in most of the situations, what you do is you try to put the opposite person down just to win the argument or to win the conversation, but that's not necessary, right? I feel communication is such a gift. Like, we being humans, we are so developed. Like, the communications that the skills that we have is so developed compared to other beings. So we should really take advantage, or like put that to good use, and not to hurt other people's feelings or emotions, but to express our emotions, keeping in check that it should not hurt anybody else, right? So having a conversation, be it in any language, is not a very simple thing to do. You said it needs voice, it needs rules, it needs body language, it needs certain etiquettes, or it needs certain what do you say, it's just a way. Though it's only a way of communication, we have so many languages in this world, that English is just one of them. And here I've just given you a glance on how you can speak in English with using all the rules that I have said, in such a way that you can easily, with confidence, express your thoughts and emotions. And I hope this really helps you. Thank you for listening to my lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. And please leave your comments, feedback, and any questions that you have in the comment section. Thank you.